care questions. Pop them over. Hey Dil, how you doing?
Hi Alice, how are you?
I'm good. Very good to see you. All the better for seeing you.
You saved me from making dinner.
Very good. It's oh no, I can't. It's business.
Yeah, I've got better things to do.
Fantastic.
How
So
are you?
how's this? Oh, I'm okay, thank you. How is lockdown going for you?
Yeah, it's okay. I have to say it's been quite busy, but busy in a different way. So we can't do dentistry at the moment. So at the minute we're triaging all our patients. I feel really sorry for them because obviously they can't come in to see us, but we can only really give advice and antibiotics and analgesia basically. Unless they've got a real problem, we'll then send them to a dental hub or to the hospital, trying to keep the pressure off the hospital. But otherwise, I'm doing a lot of consultations, online
Yeah.
consultations, which are working quite well actually. I might change my practice in the future.
Wow. But I mean, can we just talk about dentistry for a sec before we get on to the skincare and aesthetics? Because
Yeah.
dentistry was your background originally,
Yes.
wasn't it? I
Yes.
mean, it's a bit dire, isn't it, with dentistry just
Oh,
now?
I know. So I've been a dentist for 22 years now, and I'm a cosmetic dentist and kind of fell into doing aesthetics, over the course of the last sort of 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And because dentistry is face to face, we can't do it online, and there's an aerosol risk to it as well. So obviously, when you're doing, full on dentistry, with the aerosol risk, we can't practice as clinicians. So
Yeah.
very difficult. It's very difficult. And,
Yeah.
I have loads of messages from patients who have broken their front teeth, their front crowns fallen out, and that's it's a horrible thing to have, especially now in lockdown, and when they're probably on Zoom consultations themselves. So yeah, it's a hard time for dentists and patients. So yeah.
Yeah. Really tricky. But okay, so on a more positive note, tell me about the because you're doing skincare consults for your aesthetic patients.
Yes. So I think my practice, Medished wise, hasn't really changed apart from I can't physically see my patients. So generally, if patients come to see me, generally it's always skin health first. So we always talk about skincare, we always talk about medical grade skincare, and I think that's how I kind of gain the trust of my patients, where we talk about their skin, they bring in a bag of what they're using, I'll say, okay, let's maybe stop using that, etc. Tweak things a little bit. And so yeah, so we're doing a lot of online consultations, and we've got all the kind of really good pharmacies that are delivering straight to patients. So
Okay.
in this particular time where we've all lost control of our normal day-to-day life, we can maintain a bit of skincare. And
Yeah.
skincare that works rather than any
Yes.
old skincare.
Yeah. Hey, Uchenna. Hi. Gotta talk to you about dentistry another time. I'm doing my hygiene really well, by the way. Uchenna's been my dentist for a long time, as well as a friend. And
Hello.
yeah, so I better insist that I'm being good there. But so when you say medical grade skincare, which are there particular brands you like and work with, or which are the ones you prefer?
So there's quite a few good brands out there, and I think it can be a minefield for the practitioner and the patient.
Yep.
So I do feel that as well. Probably you're probably bombarded with all different lines, but I've chosen to stock three particular ranges, and that's Obagi, Zeo, which is a different.
Different sort of Obagi Mark II, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Zain Abaji's own sort of line, and Skin Better Science, which I took on about a year ago, and I'm really impressed with them as well. So three product lines. I can just about deal with what all the products are, because there's a lot of products within each range. So yeah, so generally depending on the patient and what their concerns are, I've got my kind of toolkit of skincare. I can kind of dispense, know what works for one, doesn't work for another patient. So yeah, so those are.
So when you've got the original Obagi range and the Zeo range, how do you decide between the two of those, which might work for which patients or which concerns?
So I've kind of developed my own protocols with working with them for a few years. So if a lot of my classic patients come in, they're anti-aging pigmentation. That's my kind of demographic around here.
Okay.
So if someone's very new to medical grade skincare, then I'll tend to put them on a simple system like the Abaji 360. I can show you that.
Yeah, tell me, I'm not as familiar with the Abaji system as I ought to be, because I've never, to my shame, actually gone and worked through a whole
range, and it comes with an exfoliating cleanser, a day cream with built-in SPF 30 and retinol 0.5. So if they've got any kind of rosaic or acne tendencies, I probably wouldn't be using that, but that would be a starting point alongside with maybe say a vitamin C. I'm kind of set up for my consultations there, so all my products are out. So, you know, I'd start them on maybe a 10% or 15% vitamin C, and on top of that, put in some sort of hydrate. So they've got like a baseline sort of starter package. And then once they've started using that and they really like the effects of this base, I think it's basic, but when I first started using it, I was like, wow, this stuff's amazing. So this is what's empowered me to kind of pass that on to my patients. You know, so my mum uses it as well. So, you know, it says for the younger age category, but any age can really use it and benefit from it.
And particularly if it's
that would be kind of a starting point for them. And then if they wanted to increase their regime, there's all sorts we can do. We can go to a higher percentage retinol. We can potentially up it to a CRX kit or the Abaji Nuderm kit, depending on the patient. So you've got to really understand the patient and whether you think they'll tolerate the Nuderm or be a compliant patient. A lot of my patients around here do the Abaji CRX system. I don't know if you know this, Alice.
No, come on, tell me.
This is a nice system actually, and it's quite popular for patients living in London who don't really want a lot of downtime, who don't really want a lot of peeling. You know, they'll get results in 12 weeks. So it's a really nice system to use. So that's
okay. Yeah. And sorry, I know I'd asked how you differentiate between those two. Somebody was just asking what percentage vitamin C should they use? Is 20% better than 10? Well, it all depends, doesn't it? It depends on it's not just a numbers game, because it depends on the formulation, particularly with vitamin C. It depends in what way it's being delivered. It depends on your skin.
No, totally. So if someone came in and said they were quite sensitive type skin, then I'd probably start them on a 10%. That combined with other ingredients, that would be good. And then, you know, so majority of my patients are on the 15%, which is for your normal skin type. For the more oily skin types, I put them on 20%. I'm on 20%. It doesn't mean if you transcend up to 20%, it means you'll probably so a lot of my patients who are on 15 will end up on a 20%. Patients who have sensitive type skin will probably stay on a 10%, you know, as long as they're using it daily and with an SPF on top as well. So that's really important.
Yes. And if it's in a decent formulation, like, I mean, those three brands you have are really specialized. They're not available direct to consumer. You can't just buy them over the internet anywhere, can you? You have to buy them through a medical practitioner such as yourself.
But also, Alice, the other important thing is how to layer the products. You know, you have to be explained how do you do that. So, you know, with the Abaji range, you'd put the vitamin C on first once you've washed your skin. If you're using a ZO vitamin C, you'd layer it on later because it's a thicker, slight product. And then with the Skin Better Science, they've got a really nice one called the Alto Defense Serum, which we've got here. And when you're using something like this, so again, this would be really good for patients who have a rosaic type of tendency, because I've never noticed anyone have an issue with it. Sometimes patients... Sorry
to interrupt. What kind of tendency? A rosaic? So like going red?
Redness, or, you know, more irritated type skin, or patients who suffer from like epidermal water loss, you know, who, you know, have that kind of annoying skin. I'd start them on something like this, the Alto Defense Serum. It's really nice. It's got 19 antioxidants in it, and I've not had any complaints from it. But that would go on first, and then you'd follow it with different sort of products on top of that. You'd then put on your skin tone serum, and then you'd finish it off with you know, an SPF. So you've got to know how to layer them, because all vitamin C products are formulated slightly differently. So, so that's vitamin C.
It's a really key thing, that, isn't it? Because I know with skincare, part of the fun of it is getting all these different things and having a play, or that's what it seems like when you start playing around with skincare at home. But really, the way to get proper results is to use a structured regime in a supervised sort of way.
And I think a way of building your practice as well is like every single one of my patients got my number. You know, they can WhatsApp me whenever they want, because sometimes, you know, you're not sure what's going on, if you're peeling too much, you're irritated skin. So, you know, I always kind of like check in with my patients after that sort of initial 2 weeks. And then, you know, see how they're doing, and then we can always tweak their program after that.
Sure. And I know often redness and peeling comes along with the territory with going on to retinol, but you don't want too much of that, do you? Because irritated skin means there's inflammation going on, and that's not always...
Yeah, I mean, I think what's a good idea, I always sort of just talk to my patients about a retinol ladder. So, you know, if you've never used retinol before, start low and maybe 2 to 3 times a week, okay? So potentially I'd start them on a 0.5 Obagi retinol, or maybe something from Skin Better Science, which is the Alpha Ret. I don't know if you've tried that.
I love that, yeah. Because it's got retinol and glycolic acid.
Like great chemistry. So, you know, that is something really nice. So they could start on something like that. I'm really mindful that medical grade products are really expensive, but I always try to educate the patient that you don't need much. And when you see a result, then you're going to be locked into that and really appreciate the results it gives you. But yes, definitely start low with retinol. As your receptors and you get more kind of tolerance to it, then you could increase your retinol to say a 1%. You can even increase to a tretinoin after that. So I'd say a 1% retinol with Obagi is about equivalent to a 0.025 tretinoin. So yeah, they both kind of work slightly differently on the skin, but I think take guidance from your skincare specialist and go easy.
Yeah.
Use SPF.
Use SPF. Now, somebody was asking, should they use the Zeo SPF or the Obagi SPF? I'd use whichever your practitioner who's been advising you gives you. I mean, just use it. I mean, it is the key thing. I find there's some people who come and talk to me about for Tweakments advice, but they don't actually use skincare. And so I end up in this sort of stupid bargaining thing, saying, well, if you use one product, could I also use one product? And then like, you know, why is SPF? You think, well, SPF is just the most fundamental thing to stop all the damage that's happening, isn't it?
But, you know, I think another way of explaining it to patients, if you're using active products on your skin, like exfoliators, like retinol, to increase your skin cell turnover, then you're getting those really nice baby skin cells coming up to the surface. So why do you want to damage them? So you have to use SPF on top of that, because you wouldn't put your baby on in the sun without, you know, putting on SPF. So just think of it as new cells, keep yourself protected, you know. Generally in day-to-day life, I'll put my SPF once in the morning and then I'll go off to work. But obviously if we're out and about in the day, then maybe use it a little bit more often. But, you know, whether it's a Zeo or whether it's Obagi, just ask your practitioner whether you prefer a chemical or a physical block, because obviously there's differences. I've just seen someone talking about rosacea. Yeah, so a lot of sort of sensitive type skin patients, I definitely advise physical type block SPFs, and we've got like Sunshield mats. There's quite a few to choose from, but you have to kind of speak to your specialist and they will work out what's best for you, and then it's compliance after that.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've missed the one about rosacea. Can you see what roughly it was?
I think some patients are a bit worried when they come and say, oh, you know, I've got sensitive skin or rosacea type tendencies, can I use Obagi, because I've heard it's really aggressive? But they've probably heard from a Nuderm point of view, and they've heard of patients peeling a lot. Literally, when you use Nuderm, you'll peel for the first 2 to 4 weeks. After that, your skin is I know it's perfect time for it now, but you know, if somebody has got sensitive skin, then I would potentially put them on something like a gentle cleanser, so they cleanse their skin. A hydrate, so it's got, you know, really, you know, it's got aloe, it's got shea, so it's a really lovely hydrate. And then I'd put them on something like a Sunshield matte or a Zeo Skin Health. This one here, this is lovely because it's got a primer in it as well. So
yes,
it's a
that's
mineral
nice. I know that one. Yeah.
mineral based with titanium. So yeah, so it's choice of products is really important so that you don't fall off that bandwagon. But
Yeah.
if you use those products, then that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. And do you kind of make people promise to use SPF if they're going to come to you for other treatments, because otherwise you're doing all this lovely stuff on their faces? And
I think if you educate patients, they buy into that. They become compliant. So when they see results with just cream, which you do, then they're gonna, be very concentrated and keeping up for that. And then obviously when they do come for other treatments, because it is very skin focused here, like your Profilo or your microneedling or other kind of injectables, then the basis of their skin is going to be looking really good, and their results are going to be really amplified after that. So it's skin first.
okay. Yeah, Cara, these products, you can see them on DrDil's website, or if you follow through the links. They're medical grade skincare. There's a range called Skin Better. There's a range called Abaji. There's a range called Zio. But I'll flag them when I get this up on IGTV in due course. So, microneedling, which you mentioned. I like clinical microneedling. I am not generally very keen on home microneedling because of the potential problems it can cause. But I put up a video. I was trying the Enviro little roller, which is like 0.1 tiny prickles. But the number of questions that came in about that was fascinating. I mean, do you approve of any?
I'm not a fan, if I'm 100% honest.
Yeah.
Because I find sometimes patients will buy things on Amazon and then just start literally rolling their face in not a correct way. So sometimes you're doing more damage. It's fine for you or me potentially if we're using those devices, we're quite knowledgeable, but if patients are using them without guidance, then you may create worse channels in your face. So I'd say, look, if medical microneedling again is not cheap. So if you wanted again a maintenance protocol, once, twice, 3 times a year will bank that collagen. Hold on to your collagen, because obviously you're creating these channels. Your body's thinking, oh, I'm injured, so collagen type 3 is being formed again, and you're getting that really tight skin, and so you'll notice the effects of it 28 days later. So it's a real favorite that I love doing it on patients. I don't love having it done on myself, if I'm totally honest.
I had some done a couple of months ago, and I just had the whole sort of neck area done, and actually it was much more tolerable than I had expected. I mean, I had numbing cream as well, but I thought I was really going to have to grit my teeth and do a lot of deep breathing, and it wasn't that bad. As in, it was fine. It was only quite short needles as well. It was a skin pen, which
that's right.
A really good one.
About 20 minutes, and then there's different depths of the microneedling. So you can, if you're just doing it from an anti-aging point of view, you could be 0.5, 0.75 as a maximum. If you're looking more from an acne scarring point of view, you could go a little bit deeper. It's one thing I'd always say to my patients when they've had that done, and if they've never had it done before, because I've had it done once by a good friend of mine, and I came home and my face is on fire, and I was saying to my husband, he goes, oh my god,
you can't touch it.
I didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
And that's one thing I always say: your face is going to feel like it's literally on fire.
Yes.
For the next sort of 5 to 6 hours after that. But when you get up the next day, it's almost as if nothing's been done. Yeah. So
I had to go home with a very soft scarf on because I was absolutely brick red from there down.
Yeah. And they worry, don't they? You think you've done something bad to yourself.
But it was brief, like you said, and it was cold, so it wasn't like hugely. I didn't need to go around. It wasn't as obvious a thing as if I've had injectable moisture treatments, in the neck. You end up with those little kind of quilting bubbles for days. You look really odd.
Do you think you've had Profilo? Have you on the neck?
I've had Profilo on my face, had it on the neck, and decolletage anywhere I can get it, basically.
Yeah.
But
I mean that's a fabulous treatment as well.
I found it was good. It didn't have such a marked effect on my neck. I mean, obviously the neck skin's a bit thinner. tends to not have had as much care and attention over the years as the face. It doesn't have as many oil glands, so it's harder to rev it up and get it going. But
I think Alice, if you're having it done regularly, then it's going to have a knock-on effect. However, with a lot of our patients, once they've spent out on their products and their, you know, one treatment on their face and their skin pen, and potentially 1 or 2 mils of filler here and there, they've already spent quite a lot. So the neck kind of loses its, it kind of, you know, it gets dropped down a little bit, doesn't it? But from all the studies that I've seen, if you do regular treatments on your neck for Profilo, it does work. It does work really nicely. But yes, I've had Profilo done once. It's really nice.
Okay, yeah, I tend to be quite sort of irregular in these treatments because I usually do them when I've got to write about it or do a film on it, so it's a bit haphazard. But also if I've had some big treatment on my face and I can't go over that, then it's useful. There's various other zones that can be tackled. But now, what's your own home skincare regime? Which products are you actually using at the moment?
All of these in front of me? No, not really.
No, but which actual ones? Do you have a vitamin C? If you have
I've got a few favorites. So there's one thing I can't live without is this. This is my Zeo exfoliating polish. So I tend to use this a couple of times a week. It's a physical exfoliation, so with magnesium crystals and with some A, C, and E esters, and you work that into your skin. And literally, when you've used that, your skin is literally shining. So when you pop your active ingredients on, it literally gets drunk into the skin. The other product I can't live without is vitamin C by Abaji. I'm on the 20%. I really also like this. I kind of mix it up with SPF. I kind of really like my Hydra Factor actually in the day. About 9 months of the year, I really like this product because it's my day cream with built-in SPF. So I've just whacked this on and off I go. Okay. Otherwise, in the summer, when you've got a little bit more oil on your skin, this is quite nice because it's like got a makeup primer in it, and it's got the added benefit of vitamin C or Smart Tone. So yeah.
Okay. So good, straightforward stuff. Now somebody was asking about. They said I was due to have my 6-month Profilo treatment as lockdown started. When I finally have my next treatment, does it mean I will need another one a month later? You probably will, because you know, these things work best if you have sort of fairly regular top-ups of them, and whatever effects you had from it before will have gone, because it's going to be a while. I mean, none of us really have any idea when clinics are going to be able to reopen.
Profilo is like it's a bioremodeling agent and stimulates your collagen through all 5 layers. So you'll have one treatment and then you'll have another one a month later. And a majority of my patients who like the treatment will then go on to having one done every 4 months. But if you've missed it, who that was, then yes, possibly you will have to have the 2 again.
It's probably best to look at it, like you say, as an ongoing thing. And it's like telling people they need one more step in their skincare regime, and they think, well, I'm already having toxins here and fillers there and light treatments there. What you're seriously saying, I need a bioremodeling agent as well. You might like it.
But it's also age dependent, it's ethnicity dependent, you know, each face is different. Consultation is key. So, you know, when I talk to someone, and you know, when patients also explain their budget a little bit, you'll kind of know what you have in your armamentarium that is going to work and deliver bang for buck. So, you know, there is a budget for everyone. It doesn't mean if you look on the website and everything looks really expensive that, oh my God, I can't afford this, that, you know, there is something that will work for you that is affordable, because a lot of my patients will come in with stuff and they're using already like stuff from Clinique or Space NK. It's really expensive. It's not that different in price, to be honest, from a price point.
But it's worth using stuff that actually works. Now, somebody was asking, they said they're using a facial tanning product, and it's making their skin dry. Is it bad for your skin? I think it's not so much bad for your skin. It's just that's the way DHA, which is the ingredient that makes the skin tan, it reacts with the proteins in your skin and it produces the color, but it does have a drying effect. So you just hydrate more. I'd say.
I mean, I don't know what the products are. That may be quite stripping with a lot of alcohol in it. I don't know. Quite acidic. I don't really know much about them because I've already got a tan.
Because I then find if I'm using things like a strong vitamin C or glycolic, that can ruin a self-tan really quite easily. They'll also strip pigment out of my eyebrows if I've had my brows tinted. But
like having a bit of a tan. They feel better with a bit of tan, don't they? I always say, look, a tan is damaged skin. I try and educate them that, get a bit of a glow, but make sure you're, protected as best you can. And then back from your holiday, just get back on your pigment control or stick with it as well. Because obviously patients always even ask, can I use retinol when I'm on holiday? Well, yes, as long as you're protecting yourself regularly.
Yes. And it's so difficult, isn't it? Because so many people, like you say, are so fixated with the idea of getting what is seen as a healthy colour, darkening the skin in pursuit of health, which it isn't really. But it's a really deep-seated thing that's hard to shift, particularly for.
We don't have, don't we? Like, it's just one of those. But as long as you're tanning in a with your SPF 50 on and regularly applying it, I'm not going to tell anyone don't sit in the sun and sunbathe.
No, but bear in mind how it is further down the line. You think, don't come, why? Because people say, oh, do I have to do this? Or there's a bit of double think about sort of when do I need to start doing all these anti-aging treatments? Well, look after your skin when you're younger, and you won't even need to consider this. Your skin will age more slowly, and it won't be a problem, but that trying to get that across, particularly when you're young, and
educational as possible, obviously, to our patients. But a lot of the time, some patients, my existing patients who've come in regularly, and they're like, do I really need to use SPF? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, you do. Patients forget, so that's why it's really important to keep on sort of educating them. I forget sometimes. I don't forget my SPF, but it's really important to keep contact with your patients and make sure that they know what they're using, why they're using it, and what they need to do to protect the new skin that they're getting from using these products.
Yes. Somebody pointing out, we need vitamin D. We do need vitamin D. Absolutely your choice. And vitamin D is best synthesized from the action of sunlight on the skin, but only at this time of year through till September at this latitude. You will get it in the winter. But, I think if it's warm enough, I would prefer to show off my arms, my legs, or my back. I'll stick my back in the sun. I can't be bothered to roast my face in the hope of picking up more vitamin D and then have more wrinkling to deal with. So it's kind of each to their own on that, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Totally.
And most of us need vitamin D supplementation after a long winter like the sort we've had.
Taking daily supplements is a good idea, I think, especially now as well. So skincare is paramount as long as you're using it well. And then all other kind of treatments that you decide to invest in are going to work better and look better. And a lot of my patients, Alice, are, they say to me, Dil, I'm going to go down the surgical route, but when I do, my skin's going to be in really tip-top condition.
Yes.
So, there's that kind of side of it as well.
Yes, that is a really good point. And one more thing to ask you before I let you go and join supper or have supper made for you. Is there is there a particular what's the question you get asked most by all your patients? Is there any overriding concern or something that comes up more often than everything else?
I tell you what, I get a lot of patients are scared of fillers. Yeah.
Yes.
They see a lot of badly done work, and they're nervous about it. And obviously, on my Instagram and Facebook, I try and be educational. And kind of the reason I fell into aesthetics was when I was doing sort of full mouth rehab, the perioral area, so the area around the mouth, didn't sort of match. But if you place filler subtly and from a restorative point of view, because a lot of my filler work is restorative rather than beautification. Yes. Sometimes you don't even know it's been done, and strategically placed filler in certain area can have quite an advantageous. And this is not to say to go and have filler, because loads of my patients just not interested whatsoever.
Yeah, totally. But
at all. But it's that's one question I do get asked a lot. I've heard what am I going to look like? Because the fear, it's the big fear of looking abnormal or looking slightly weird. And still medical aesthetics has that kind of cloak and dagger kind of thing. Patients don't want to talk about it. And I say to them, look, you exercise, you look after your body, you eat well. It's the same thing that we talk about. Why is your face any different? You know, if you're over 40 and if you're Caucasian, if you've liked the sun, and if you now suddenly have slightly less lines of wrinkles, you've had treatment, own it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not a big deal anymore. You know, if it makes you feel better. So yeah, it's education.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I'll send you a link to a video I did last year, exactly that, because it's really unfair, isn't it? You get all the, because if you look after your health and you do lots of exercise, you know, you get praise for that from your friends and contemporaries. But then you say, and I do all this stuff, and they're like, oh, you know,
it shouldn't be that way.
It's
you know,
the same continuum.
It's all one. Yeah, exactly. And we shouldn't. People should be kind and not kind of be judgmental of other people's choices. And I think a lot of patients who come here, I say 90% of my patients are female, and they are a bit nervous sometimes, you know. And you know, I just say, look, it's fine to want to make yourself feel and look better. We are all dialed into beauty, you know. It's a fact.
Yeah, this is just
whether
a
it's
different
flower
way of...
or a house or anything, or clothes, or so,
exactly. Because medical, sorry, one last question. Because it's a medical grade skincare, I only need less amount of product for my skin. So sometimes it's left even after expiry date. Can I still use it or not?
I'd say generally when you open any kind of product, shelf life is about 6 months. Some companies would say 3 months, but you know, 6 months is a maximum. With vitamin C, just one point, you know, it oxidizes. It's quite an unstable. L-ascorbic acid is unstable. So generally, your vitamin C bottle shouldn't last more than 3 months if you're using it daily. So medical grade products, you won't need much. They should last as long as other products that you buy. So you know, my bottle of vitamin C lasts me about 3 months. And you shouldn't be used after that because it oxidizes. So
I was embarrassed the other day. I was filming something of, hey, these are the things I generally use, and I yanked up a bottle of a well-known antioxidant and started dripping it out and slapped on my face. It was only when I put it up, somebody said, that's oxidizing. I shouldn't have these things sitting around for so long. So anyway, that's me talk. And then there was a lively discussion about whether these things should actually be kept in the fridge to help preserve them, but it's often a bit of a palaver, isn't it? If you've got to wash your face, go to the fridge, come back. Anyway, Dil, thank you so much.
Oh, no worries. It's kind. Thank you for inviting me.
Lovely. And I hope to see you again in real life, maybe, because I know that I saw you last at the conference in October, wasn't it?
We'll all be back together.
Yes. Yeah. Look forward to it. Anyway, good luck with it all. Thank you.